Okay, we are on to demo 2 video of the basics of GarageBand and how to use GarageBand. So last time I set myself up some drums, some bass and a melodic pattern in GarageBand. What I'm going to do now is add another track to add some chords to our work. So again, I'm just going to go new track, software instrument, create, and again we're going to use our arpeggiator for this. This time we're going to go to synth chords. We will have a listen to a few options available to us, see which ones we like. So we've got this digital chord. Again, Command K brings up our keyboard. Okay, so that sounds quite nice. We will also, let's have a look at emotive. In fact, no, let's look at digital bright chords. Okay, not as nice, so I'm going to go back here to digital chords because that is what I am going to use. I can have a listen to how that sounds, say, an octave up, an octave down. So I think I'm going to go for that octave up option, which is here. And again, I'm just using the W key to keep my composition in time. I'm going to leave this one the color it is and leave it green. And I'm going to record this in here. Go in, just drop everything into the right place. So this is going to go in there and trim the end off again. And what we have here is what we term like an A section of our composition. So what we want our composition to do is, because obviously if we do just this all the way through, it'd be fairly boring. So we have what we'd call our A section of our composition here. We're now going to create a B section. Now, sections in compositions, you are basically looking at either what we'd call 4 bars, which is from the start here to this line here, or in this case, 8 bars of music. It's nice, especially if it's electronic dance music, if all the sections are equal. So we're going to create a new drum pattern, and we want that to be 8 bars long. And if we select that bit of the drum pattern, what we can then do is add some variation to it. We want this bit to sound slightly different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this section a bit more complicated, but a little quieter by dragging this along. So you can see the difference there, and I'm going to add some percussion to it. So we can have a quick listen to what that sounds like. And what I'm going to do is listen to how the transition from this drum part to the next drum part sounds, see if I like the transition. Okay, I can tell that works quite nicely. I can tell that works quite well. So that sounds pretty nice. Now I'm going to add a new bass part. So I drag my transport bar to here, to the beginning of 9.1, sits right there. And I'm going to record in a new bass part. I can press Command K. Now what I'm going to do is, for the last bass part, remember it's your bass part, so you want it low down. I was holding down W. If I just hold down W again, I'm going to get the same thing. So what I'm going to do is pick 2 more of the black keys, and they're what I'm going to use for my composition. So I'm just going to choose T and Y. So T and Y, and as you will see, I'm going to play 4 bars of T and hopefully 4 bars of Y. The reason I'm doing this is, the reason I'm purely using the black keys is, any of the black keys I pick, I could pick O and U. And it's going to sound in time with my first part because I'm only playing the black keys in this, and this will help keep my composition in tune. So here we go. Now, one of the problems I'm having today is I'm actually using Bluetooth headphones to record this, so all my timings are a little off. I'd suggest not using Bluetooth headphones and just using wired headphones, but I don't have any headphones right now with a wire available. So you can see my timing's slightly off. If we look at this down the bottom here, Oh, I've actually managed to drop that in the right place at the start of the bar. But you can see here in the second part of the bar, it should be right here. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong part. Okay, this here should be on 9 here, and it's not. And then here you can see this should be on 13, and it's not quite. Now, I could manually drag those into place, but what we're going to do is look at a different function instead. If I select both these notes, and then come here to time quantize. So there's no quantizing happening right now. And what I can actually do is turn that on, hit 1 notes, and you can see there it moved into place. It quantized it for me, putting it right where I want it to be, right in the correct place at the beginning of bar 9. So that is going to work well for me. So let's just have a listen to how that sounds now. Okay, that works well. What I could now do is obviously recording the exact same thing here in the tight cycles and just use the keyboard to do an octave higher, but work smart, not hard. So what I'm going to do instead is select this. If I hold down Option, I can then drag this down there, and it's put it into my analog bass sequence on the tight cycles. Unfortunately, it's going to call it analog bass sequence, but I can just rename that to tight cycles, so I know it's the right thing. Now, it's going to have it way too low as an octave. If we listen to it, it's going to be in the same octave as the bass, which isn't what I want, because the two sounds sound too muddied together. So what I can do is I can use my keypad to zoom out onto here, and I can select these 2 notes, and then if I press Shift, Option and Up on my keyboard, it moves it up an octave for me. So I can see it's still not quite in the same octave there, so I'm going to move it again, Shift, Option, Up. And once the sound plays out, if we have a listen, sounds quite nice, sounds good. I'm going to go to my digital chords here just to record in a chord progression. And again, this time I'm going to play it in just to remind you show you how you can play it in as well. So I get it in the right octave by moving this along. I'm actually going to go 1 higher than that. There we go. Here we are. I hit record. And if we have a look, find the notes, I can see I'm more or less accurate there. I've done okay, but what I'm going to just do is select them both and again hit that quantize button, and you can see that note moved just to drop it right on the start of the bar. So now I have an A section to my composition and I have a B section to my composition. I will just save that and we'll just have a listen through. So an A section and a B section to my composition there. And all I'm going to do quickly is following the training instructions. I'm just going to add in a C section here. Now your C section, think of it as a bridge. You need the music to change significantly in the C section to add keep interest in your composition. So just hit here. I'm going to keep the same drum kit, but I'm going to make this part really, really soft and really, really simple to add a change in volume. And I'm going to go to my bass, and in there I am just going to do something a little bit different. So you can do lots of things to change your composition. You can modulate the key, you can add or remove more instruments, you can change your melody and things like that. I'm just going to do this super simple. I'm just going to change it so that the only thing happening in this part of the composition is drums and bass, and I'm going to go back to just possibly only using W. In fact, no, I'm going to use W and E. Here we go. Now, again, make the technology work for us. What I'm going to do is, I've only got 4 bars worth of music there. I'm going to trim it, get rid of the bit I don't need by pressing delete, double click on here, make sure I'm looking at the right space. There you go. So there's my 2 notes. Now I'm going to quantize these as well, but this time I don't want to quantize them as 1/1 notes. What I'm going to do is quantize them as quarter notes, just to make sure they drop in the same place. Then I can take this, I can press Command C, and then I can drag my playhead here, press Command V, and there I have a C section. And notice it'll come out of this section here where you've got everything playing, and there'll be a nice change because you don't have as many instruments playing. What I'm going to do to make my life easier, because we're going to arrange this in a second, is highlight these 2 areas as well and press Command J, joins them together. So now I've got an 8-bar sequence instead of just a 4-bar sequence. So I've got all the parts of my composition there: A section, B section, C section. But it'd be fairly boring if I just let these play through from the beginning through to the end. It wouldn't be very interesting as a piece of music. So what we're going to do to make it more interesting is work on the idea of layering up our composition as it goes along. So first things first, I'm going to use my A section as the start of my piece. So I take these 2 sections, highlight them, and I'm just going to drag those out of the way temporarily. By dragging them along, I'll place them there for now. So got my A section, but I don't want it all to start at the same time. What I want it to do is build up. So I'm going to select it all, Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and I'm going to delete the digital chords from the beginning, and I'm going to delete the tight cycles. So now you can see it starts with bass and drums, and then everything's going to come in, and I want that to happen more than once because people like repetition in music. So I'm going to select that and paste it in there. So perfect. That should sound pretty nice. You can see I can't slide my screen over anymore. That's easy to fix. There's a little thing here in the top corner. I just move that along to give myself more bars. Now you want to be checking this as you go through and hearing what things sound like, but for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to throw things together and see how it goes. So let's call this intro. Let's call this my A section, and then my B section is going to come in. So I'm going to slide this up to here. And again, I want that to happen twice. So I'm just going to move this over slightly. Take my B section and drop it in there. Now, really what I'd do is, if I was making a long composition, I'd go intro, A section, B section, and then I'd go A section and B section again, but I don't want to do that in this demo because it'd be a long piece for you to listen to. You don't need to listen to. So just pretend I've done that twice, and then we come to our C section. So we take our C section, drop that in there. Perfect. So now we've got intro, A section, B section, C section. Notice how they're all equal in length. Notice how they're all the same number of bars. So there's my C section. That's pretty nice. Then all I'm going to do is take my A and my B section again, copy it, drop it in there, and then just to end the piece, super simple, just going to give myself a few more bars to do it. drag that along. I'm going to take my intro section, highlight it, Command C, and then drop it in here for an ending sequence to bring the piece to an end. And what I'm actually going to do is just add a drum section there, just to finish it off, but make that drum section way shorter, like so. So that's the complete composition done. We'll have a listen through to it in a second. Now, obviously, I've just put this all together in one go. I've not really explored or experimented with any ideas with different melodies and things like that, because it's a demonstration. When you're doing it, you want to spend more time on it than this. You want to have a listen to different sounds. You want to see how those sounds go together. You want to try different combinations of the black keys to see what works. But I've done it this way. Super simple composition, super easy to put together, and a good way to learn how to use all the basics of GarageBand. So let's give it a listen through. So there you have it. Obviously not the greatest composition in the world. I don't think I'll be troubling Spotify charts with that one, but it's an exercise to help you learn how to use GarageBand, and it's an exercise to help you learn the basics of recording, using the drummer function, using the software instruments, how to manipulate certain things in there, how to copy and paste, that will stand you in good stead for your composition work in the future. I'm just going to save it to make sure it's okay. Now, it's not quite finished. We're going to do one more video on this where we look at how, what we would say, we mix down our composition and we export it to disk. So that will be the next sequence in it, just looking at how to finish up our composition once we've written all our parts.